All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Watkins, Glen, New York. Richie Joplin and Derek Schilling have the front row. Vic Brown, Jeff Oakes on the second row. Daryl Klotz and Rod Potgieter on the third row. Mark Dantuma and Stephen Lindner have the fourth row. Robert Eggert and Gerald Poole rounding out the top 10. John Shermott's in 11th next to Kevin Bruner in 12th. Ryan Warp in 13th. Tim St. Jean in 14th. Gil Walk in 15th. Warren Moore in 16th. Pete Norquay and Mike Burgess rounding out the 18-car field here tonight. Hey, good evening, Frank. I may very well have said Navy Joe because there are 3 Navy Joe coffee cars in the field, including pulse hitter Richie Joplin. Back in 7th, Mark Dantuma, and I lost Gerald. Gerald back in 10th. That's a little worrisome when I lose track of a car. Porsche pace car leads them around this 2.45 mile track. Everybody stacking up, getting ready to go green. Surprisingly, very few cars are trying to get those tires warmed up. Frank, might try refreshing. Looks good here. Here we go to the final 2 turns. Pace car will dive to pit road. Richie Joplin in control. No cautions here tonight. 30 laps to go. Looking at 11 to 13 laps on a tank of fuel. Most of the drivers saying right around 12. And likely we may not see tire changes, or may only see 1 tire change tonight. Most of these guys can drive it on old tires for quite a while, as here we go. Marine flag flies. They are underway at the Glen. Richie Joplin clears traffic. Everybody else makes it through turn 1 and up into the S's. This track is a lot of fun for the drivers and for us. Kevin Bruner just went by on the high side, 3 wide. Looked like there may have been a bit of a checkup up there. Back down through the bus stop they go. Richie Joplin out front of Derek Schilling. Richie already has almost 1.5 second lead as they go around to complete lap 1. And Richie Joplin will start the new season leading the first lap. You know he's got to be hungry. There have been 3 championships over the last week that Richie Joplin has been battling for. He didn't win any of them, including last week losing the home motorsports championship by 1 point. Jeff Oaks already on the attack. He qualified at fourth, up to third, and right on Schilling's bumper. Eric Schilling, though, tough to beat on the road course. We saw that when they were at Sonoma. But Schilling goes wide. Oaks is going to get by. Jeff Oaks now into second place, but 2.6 seconds behind Richie. He's got a lot of ground to make up. Vic Brown in fourth, Rod Pondgeter in fifth. Darrell Klotz in sixth, Mark Dantuma in seventh. Keep an eye on Dantuma as the run goes on. He has a tendency to be one of the fastest on the road courses late in the run. Robert Eggert up to eighth, John Shermott's up to ninth, Stephen Lindner in 10th, Gerald Poole in 11th, Ryan Warp in 12th, and the return of Pete Norquay tonight. Pete already up 4 spots into 13th, and he's right on Ryan Warp's back bumper. John Shermott's has had a problem back behind. Shermott's has lost a lot of ground. Let's see what happened. There's Shermott's in the blue and white Oreo cars. They head off into... Oh! He was a little sideways coming into the bus stop. I think the blimp was in a bad position for that one. Let's see if we can get a different angle. Looked like when he got on the brakes, the back end just broke a little bit loose. Fortunately, Shermott's able to keep it out of the wall and get going again. Richie Joplin still out front, 3.5 second lead over Jeff Oaks. Derek Schilling still holding on to third, Vic Brown in fourth, Rod Pondgeter in fifth. We see Vic racing a lot, I have to tell you, he is very quiet on the track. You don't know he's there until late in the race. He is up battling for the top 3. No surprise to see him in the top 5 and hanging on at the moment. Rod Pondgeter currently in fifth, Darrell Klotz, Mark Dantuma. Robert Eggert a little bit further back on with Stephen Lindner and Gerald Poole. Gerald, another experienced road racer, wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up 3, 4, 5 spots. Now remember, he is driving injured with that bandaged hand. We'll have to see how he can do. It is his first race back. And Pete Norquay, and I was talking beforehand, he has not been seen in home motorsports for quite a while. He has been off track. He came back tonight, and he is reminding everybody he is here. He's already up 6 spots into 11th. And faster than everybody but the top 2 at the moment. Richie Joplin did just set the fastest lap. 1:14.11. Jeff Oaks 1:14.91 in second. Brian Hewitt, good evening, buddy. And yes, don't we all want to go fast? And looks like Ryan Warp had a problem back behind. There's Warp coming out of the bus stop. Little too much power on the rumble strips. Just slides it down to the inside, but a great save. Keeps it out of the fence. Great save, great recovery. Richie Joplin's lead continuing to grow. I do know Richie practiced pit entry tonight. He is very, very concerned about it, given the problems he's had over the last week. Jeff Oaks still in second. Meanwhile, Pete Norquay is just taking 10th and is closing the gap on Gerald at the moment. Wow, and Stephen Lindner has had a problem. Gerald Poole trying to get to the inside of Lindner as they come into the bus stop, and it looks like Lindner just couldn't get the car to set into the bus stop. Cuts through, takes the shortcut, but does get it recovered. He did have to take a slowdown. Jeff Oaks throwing a drift through the bus stop. Will we see him kick the back end down in the final two turns? Remember, it has a tendency to do that drift in the sharper turns. We'll see if he can pull it off here. Saw him do it a little bit in practice. Not as much as we usually see, and no drift there. A little bit of a kick out on entry on that one, but not nearly the drifting we see out of Oaks usually at road courses. Brian Hewitt, yes you do. Everybody needs some of that Navy, Joe. Daryl Klotz, Mark Dantuma still nose to tail. Really surprised Mark has not started moving up yet. But you know, Watkins Glen is the track that most of these drivers, even if they're just oval drivers, most of them have driven Watkins Glen a lot. They know this track really, really well. They know how to carry the speed. And it is a fairly easy road course to drive. Now, a lot of times we see guys getting out here in the stock car and they can actually throw them things around really, really well. Pete Norquay still closing in on Thanos. Robert Eggert up in 8th, trying to close back up on Dantuma and Klotz. Warren Moore back in 18th. Ryan Ward drifted back to 17th after his problems. Mike Burgess in 16th. Tim St. Jean surprisingly in 15th. Really surprised Tim isn't up in the top 10 yet. As we've got a little bit of a problem coming out of turn 1. Gill's walk is going backwards. Tim St. Jean now to 14th. John Shermans, despite his incident in the bus stop, is up to 13th. Kevin Bruner in 12th. Stephen Lindner in 11th. Pete Norquay in 10th. Richie Joplin has the lead now by 6.7 seconds. Jeff Oaks gap back to third place. Derek Schilling is now almost 5 seconds. Vic Brown in 4th. Rod Potgieter in 5th. Klotz in 6th, Mark Dantuma in 7th. They're closing back up on Potgieter, Vic Brown, and Derek Schilling. Robert Eggert back in 8th. Gerald Poole in 9th. Gerald is closing on Robert. Wow, Gerald taking those curbs hard tonight. And Pete Norquay in 10th is now at Gerald's bumper. Norquay did not qualify. Started in 17th, already up to 10th. It took me a bit. It is a Norquay's paint scheme. It's a Tim Horton's paint scheme. Took me a bit to figure that one out. Robert Eggert is on pit road. He is a couple laps early. But if he takes French tires here, it might give him a little help. Richie Joplin out front is about a second a lap, about a second and a half a lap. Slower now than his fastest lap. That's pretty consistent throughout the field, so it does appear tires are making a difference here tonight. Ryan Warp, Mike Burgess, Warren Moore have all gone to pit road. Seeing a lot more cars on pit road than we expected. Early, Warren Moore takes fuel only. Robert Eggert, Tim St. Jean, Mike Burgess, and Ryan Warp all took tires. Jeff Oakes and Daryl Klotz are in. Jeff giving up second. What will Jeff Oakes' strategy be tonight? Nails his pit stall. And he is taking on tires. Daryl Klotz also in. Klotz is looks like the vast majority. Gerald Poole taking tires. Pete Norquay taking tires. Gil Guac on his way. And it does look like everybody is taking tires on this first stop. Warren Moore, the only one that took fuel only. Bit of a surprise. Usually at Watkins Glen. Here we go. Richie Joplin is on pit road. Remember, this was his biggest concern about tonight's race because he has had so many problems on pit road lately. Derek Schilling's going to stay out. Vic Brown, Rod Potgieter, Mark Dantuma all coming in. Derek Schilling staying out. He is going to get a lap lead here tonight. Starting the season with even a few bonus points could be huge at the end of the season. As we've been talking about last season, the top three separated by 1 point. Mark Dantuma won that championship last week by 1 point over Jeff Oakes and Richie Joplin, who tied for second. Brian, you might want to let Richie know he doesn't need tires. He did take 4 tires and fuel. Derek Schilling likely to be in this time. Yep, Derek is staying low on the track, and here he comes to pit road. Kevin Bruner, the only other driver that has not been in yet. Vic Brown has had a problem back behind. There's Vic going off it. Oh, man. Hit that first. Wow. close call too with Pot Eater. Rod Potgieter in the green car right behind. He hits it pretty hard too. Slings it wide. Coming out of the bus stop, and Mark Dantuma. That was a close call through the carousel. Well, that got wild. It is a testament to this group. Richie and Jeff Oakes have checked out, but the rest of the field all fairly close together and still battling. This is what we saw all last season. Each race, this group gets closer and closer. Of course, you heard during warm-up Kevin Bruner saying it's just a bunch of friends out here having a good time together, a close-knit group. It definitely shows they help each other get faster during practice, and it shows when the championships are so close, when the races are so close. Brian, I have to agree, they're definitely sending it, and Richie just sent the fastest lap, and the first lap under the 114 mark, 113.74. Richie is really sending it tonight. Jeff Oakes in second, about 9 seconds back. Eric Schilling still has third and a decent gap on fourth place Rod Potgieter. The Rod is closing in. He's bringing Dantuma with him. Mark Dantuma now to fifth. Robert Eggert up 3 spots into sixth. Gerald Poole up 3 spots into seventh. Pete Norquay up 9 spots into eighth. John Shermott's up 2 spots into ninth, and Kevin Bruner up 2 spots into 10th. Hey, welcome back, Elf. That's kind of what it looks like tonight. Richie is definitely acting like Speed Racer. Stephen Lindner now in 11th. Tim St. Jean is starting to make some moves. He is now up into 12th. Mike Burgess up 5 spots into 13th. And I don't think we have seen the last of Tim and Mike. These two are both extraordinarily good on road courses. I'd expect both of them to start moving up even more. Gil Guac in 14th. Warren Moore. Ryan Warp is off track behind. Looked like Ryan had a problem in the first turn. Let's see if we can see what happened to Ryan a moment ago. There's Ryan closing right up on Warren's. Oh! Ryan got a big run into turn 1. Almost got to Warren's bumper and to slam the brakes on. Looking down at this from the blimp, and you'll see the closing rate as Warren gets on the brakes into turn 1. Ryan was gonna keep going, but had to slam them on and go through the grass. Ryan definitely appears to be struggling here tonight. Usually we see him up in the top 5 on the road courses as well. But he currently sits back in 16th with Darrell Clausen 17th. Vic Brown, after that incident, has dropped back to 18th. But interesting note, Vic Brown is the fastest car on the track other than Richie Joplin and Jeff Oakes at the moment. Rod Potgieter is still closing. On third place, Derek Schilling. Mark Dantuma's coming with him. But man, if I were them, I'd be a bit worried. Pete Norquay is now up 11 spots into 6th. Note about Norquay and his lap times, they are not the fastest, but they are the most consistent across the entire run. And that consistency is paying off in a big way. He is currently pulling away from 7th place Gerald Poole. Gerald, after several weeks back, has got to be happy about having a good run here tonight. Robert Egerton 8th, closing in. John Shermont has recovered up to 9th. Kevin Bruner, though, right behind him in 10th. Richie Joplin's lead now 10 1/4 seconds. Normally, that gap, that lead, wouldn't be such a big deal if it wasn't for the fact that Jeff Oakes is such an accomplished road racer. Whoa, man, he hit that wrong, had that car bouncing all over the place. Oakes has consistently been one of the most dominant road racers in home motorsports. For Richie to be pulling away like he is, that is impressive. Derek Schilling in 3rd, Rod Potgieter getting closer. Mark Dantuma lost a little ground to Rod. And he is in trouble. 5 seconds behind is Pete Norquay. 5 seconds may seem like a lot, but a lap ago he was 8 seconds back. Everybody is now within the fuel window. They can pit anytime and go the distance. And good evening, Angie Louise, cheering on 3rd place, Derek Schilling. And speaking of people named Angie, folks, don't forget, about 5 minutes after the race, the Unicorn will be live. She'll be trucking the USA. Tune in, say hello. Maybe have a few laughs at the same time. You know, those convoys get hilarious. And if any of you are playing American Truck Sim, come join the fun. Gerald Poole was gaining ground on Norquay, is now slipped back. Looks like he had a brief off track a moment ago, lost some ground. He's now about 5 seconds back from Pete. Robert Eggert about 2 seconds back in 8th. He has started closing in. And Richie Joplin just found lap traffic. This could be a problem. Could allow Jeff Oakes and Derek Schilling to close back up. Warren Moore goes wide, lets the leader by. Kevin Bruner is the first one on pit road. Ryan Warpus had a problem. Let's see if Bruner takes on tires. I believe Kevin took fuel only on that last stop. Likely to see everybody taking on tires this time. Mike Burgess, Kevin Bruner, Richie Joplin is in. And Bruner took fuel only again. Wow. All right, what will the leader do? We'll look at Ryan Warp's incident here in a moment. Let's see what the leader does with his stop. He had a big enough lead. He could take tires, but it looks like this is going to be fuel only. It looks like the same for most of the field. Jeff Oakes, though, currently has the lead. Let's see what happened to Ryan a moment ago. Ryan had just lost a lap to Richie, gets loose out of the carousel. Close call for Warren Moore. Ryan does get the car recovered and gets it to pit road. What will Oakes' strategy be here? He has the lead for the moment. Derek Schilling now in second place. Rod Poggeter in third. And right on his bumper, Richie Joplin after his stop back in fifth. These stops seem to be shaking the field up a bit more than what we expected. Gerald Poole on his way in. Warren Moore on his way out, as is Gil Guag. Kevin Bruner, I think, may be the only driver that has not changed tires at all tonight. He is currently in 11th. I don't know. I don't think Warren Moore has changed tires. Stephen Lindner now on pit road. Darrell Klotz headed in. Jeff Oakes looks like he is headed in. Derek Schilling, Rod Poggeter still have not been in, nor has fourth place Mark Dantuma. Looks like they are all going to stay out for the moment. Richie Joplin now in fifth. Pete Norquay is in. Whoa, a little bit of sliding as Poggeter takes the lead from Schilling. Looked like turn one got a little exciting between those two. Let's take a look. All right, there it is. Derek Schilling has the lead at the line. Rod Poggeter sends it deep, and looks like both of them get a little swirly mid-turn, but both recover and keep going. And Warren Moore has had a problem. Warren Moore was headed off pit road. Oh, he just brought it to a stop and went in. Rod Poggeter heads to pit road. Derek Schilling reassumes the lead. But Richie Joplin, having completed his stop, is in second. 1 1/4 seconds back. Jeff Oakes now back up into third as pit stops cycle through. Derek Schilling did have the longest fuel run on the first run. but I don't believe there's any way he can stretch the fuel to the end. And he now has a rear bumper full of Richie Joplin. Richie looks low. Can't quite get there. He might have to run out of the carousel. Richie is looking as they go into the second to last turn. Gets the nose to the inside. Schilling doing a great job holding him off. Schilling still doesn't come in. If he can continue to hold his fuel, he has at least one more lap on that tank of fuel. He might just be trying to have a little bit of fun with Richie and make Richie work for it tonight. Up through the S's, side by side for the lead. Wow, that got close. Richie finally clears, reclaims the lead. Derek Schilling in second, Jeff Oakes in third. 5 laps to go. Oakes is actually closing in, but he is about 8 1/4 seconds behind the leader. Mark Dantuma in fourth, Rod Potgieter currently in fifth. Pete Norquay in sixth, about 9 1/2 seconds behind Potgieter, but he is closing. 5 laps to go though. I don't know if he can get there. Derek Schilling is in for his final stop. Looking back through the field, Mike Burgess is now at 5 spots into 13th. Tim St. Jean now up into 12th. Stephen Lindner in 11th. Kevin Bruner holding on to 10th. Warren Moore officially out of the race, moving Vic Brown into 17th, Ryan Warp into 16th. Both drivers normally very good road racers, but problems early have been huge setbacks. Richie Joplin's lead now about 9 seconds over Jeff Oakes. And look who's up on the podium at the moment. Third place is Mark Dantuma, but Derek Schilling right behind him. Rod Potgieter in fifth. Man, Rod is sending it. He is closing in on the 2 cars ahead. Rod set his fastest lap of the night last time by. He's about 2.5 seconds behind Schilling, but closing the gap. And Pete Norquay, as we mentioned early on, hasn't been seen in home motorsports for quite a while. But he is back, and man, they know he is back, up 11 spots into 6th. Meanwhile, Richie Joplin up front, 9 1/4 second lead over Jeff Oakes. Mark Dantuma still holding on to third. Schilling, though, right there. Both drivers extremely fast. Rod Potgieter is getting even closer. The battle for third is about to heat up. Dantuma may end up doing some defensive driving in the final laps. John Shermont has had a problem back behind. Shermont's headed for the bus stop. Oh, looks like he just gets a little loose trying to set back up to the left. Keeps it out of the wall, gets it rolling again, but did lose some ground. A really rough night for John. Folks, don't forget you can rewatch this whole race later tonight in 4K on YouTube and see Richie Joplin pick up the white flag one more time around. Brian, you may be right. That may very well have been a money shift. Good catch, buddy. Jeff Oaks in second, Dan Tuma in third. But this third place battle is going to heat up on the final lap. Eric Schilling and Rod Podgeter are right there. Podgeter looking to the inside. Pete Norquay is on pit road. Holy cow! Ryan Warp had a problem on pit road. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. And here he comes toward the final turn. Richie Joplin leads it all night long from pole to victory lane. Richie Joplin pulls off the win at the Glen. Hey, good evening, Ryan. You're a little late, buddy. All right, let's take a quick look at what happened to Ryan Warp coming to pit road. There he is coming through the final turn. Oh, that was not an intentional trip to pit road. He got loose out of the final turn. Ouch. And that weird last lap pit stop sent Pete Norquay back to 12th place. Meanwhile, let's get a word with our top three, starting with Mark D'Antuma. Mark, I have to say, I'm used to seeing you march forward consistently throughout the race. At first run, you didn't do anything, but after that first pit stop, you were on fire.
Yeah, I finally figured it out. I was having a little difficulty getting a good, clean lap, but this Chevy Camaro powered by Navy Joe Coffee was just bad fast.
It definitely was. You charged up from way back. You lost some ground in the early going, actually. Looked like that first lap might have had a little excitement around the bus stop, but man, it didn't seem to matter. You powered back up.
Yeah, I had to pull a little strategy at the end there too to get that podium out of it, but it was good racing right in the middle of the pack there.
I do have to ask, that last two laps, how much were you watching the mirror? Because Derek Schilling and Rod Podgeter were both right there.
I wasn't watching the mirror because I pretty much had my eyes closed and was just screaming like a little girl.
That's usually what I do too. It's a great strategy and another great finish, Mark. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug.
All right, doesn't look like we have Jeff Oaks available. We do have our winner, Richie Joplin. Richie, I think if you look up a dominant win in the dictionary, it'd be a picture of this one.
Yeah, I like Watkins Glen. I always like Watkins Glen. I mean, oh, Jerry just hit me. I don't know. I just like this track. It's nice and good road course. It's fast road course. It's took me a little bit to get fast on it. Uh, Still not the fastest. I've ran against some guys that just pull away from me. You know, they're just completely alien on road courses. But I'll take it and take a win for the Ally Wheel Repair and Navy Joe Coffee. And need to check out my blend, 89 Navy Joe. Need to check that blend out.
I have to say something, and you have the only sub 14-second lap tonight with a 113.74. It's the fastest lap of the night, and that was a blistering lap.
Yeah, it's just right after I came out of the pits, and I said, well, I'm going to see if I can push it a little bit more, and I did. So I don't know what the fastest lap is on Watkins, Glen, and an Xfinity car. I've not looked, so I'm probably about 3 seconds off, probably.
I doubt you're that far off, man. You have to check it out, but a great finish and a great win and a great way to start the season.
Thank you, Doug, and thank you for Home Motorsports to let me race with them. I have a lot of fun in here.
And it does look like we have Jeff Oakes available. Jeff, I have to admit, I was a little disappointed. Not as much drifting tonight.
No, the tires just didn't like it after a few laps. You could run a couple quick laps doing it, but after that, then they just kind of fell off. So no, we tried to keep her a little more straight. Had a couple moments there. Hats off to Richie though. Like he's fast around here. I'm pretty sure I've had my butt whipped a couple times around here by him. So that wasn't to be unexpected.
It was still one heck of a race, and there in the early going, I thought you might have something for him tonight, and then I guess he just decided to find another gear and go. But man, you had some extremely fast laps, and coming through traffic, you started gaining ground on him coming through traffic.
Yeah, he was so fast in the first few laps. I could run into 114s pretty consistently, but he was dipping into 113s there. And so I think once the tires kind of bounced out, I had similar speed to him. But yeah, I thought I had a shot at him. I was gaining, and I pushed a little hard, made a couple mistakes, got the tires hot. And then after that, I was just trying to maintain, really, because he wasn't making any mistakes, obviously. So.
Well, man, an awesome night. It's always fun to watch you on the road courses, and a great job, buddy.
Thanks, Doug. Hope you enjoyed it. Hats off to Richie and Mark. Good job on the podiums.
Great job, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Jeff Oakes comes home in second. Richie Joplin gets the win, but folks, the night ain't over yet. Come back here in about 5 minutes. You'll see the unicorn trucking. The crew is all on the road. Come tune in, say hello, have a few laughs. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope y'all had as much fun as we did. We'll see you in a few. Have a good one, everybody.